Seems like we just keep knocking them on down as time continues to roll on by. More information comes out on these cops, and I can't help but notice that in his mugshot, his height has pretty much been exposed. So this guy's 5'8". I'm taller than him, so he's like a shrimp, so to speak. Little man complex, but we're not going to get into all of that. So this is Desmond Mills Jr. and his past has been dug up. I keep telling y'all, they're going to dig into the past of these officers. And what's crazy is all of these officers past who they've dug into so far, it shows you that they most likely should have never been cops. Because this guy had violent tendencies in the past involving a woman, but let's go ahead and just jump right into it. One of the former Memphis police officers charged in the beating death of Tyree Nichols was previously disciplined for failing to report his role in a different beating incident, according to disciplinary records released by the Memphis Police Department. Desmond Mills Jr., one of the 5 ex-officers charged with the second-degree murder in 29-year-old Nichols' death, received a written reprimand in 2021 for failing to report his use of physical force during an arrest 2 years earlier. Mills assisted 3 other officers in the arrest of a woman on March 21st, 2019. He said the woman was resisting arrest. Those were his words. So he grabbed her by the arms and took her to the ground while another officer handcuffed her, according to the disciplinary records. The woman later filed a complaint against the Memphis police officers involved, alleging that one officer grabbed her after she refused to get into his squad car, and that a second officer began beating her with a black object, grabbing her hair and slamming her head into the squad car. She denied resisting arrest and reported injuries including a black eye, abrasions, and swelling on her hands as well as her face. Mills had been required to fill out a document known as a response to resistance form after using physical force to restrain the woman. Mills himself was not accused of using excessive force in the incident and was only disciplined for his failure to report the incident. So he pretty much got a slap on the wrist right there. Officer Mills stated he was familiar with completing the response to resistance document in Blue Team, but he did not realize it applied to his actions in this case. A document summarizing Mills' disciplinary hearing said, "It was explained to him if the individual refuses to comply with verbal commands and he is required to use any type of physical force to gain compliance, he should complete the response to resistance form." 2 of the officers involved in the arrest were later disciplined for excessive and unnecessary force, and a third was disciplined for failure to report the use of force, as Mills was. Mills' defense attorney did not immediately respond to Insider's request for comment. In a separate disciplinary incident in March 2019, Mills received another written reprimand for dropping a department-issued device on a roadway where it was run over by a car. The disciplinary records said Mills reported responding to an incident call on the interstate and placing his personal digital assistant in his pocket where it fell out while he got into his squad car. The PDA came out and went into the street and an unknown vehicle ran over your PDA, the record said, adding that Mills had violated the department's policy on rough or careless handling of equipment. That just sounds too scripted, almost to the point where it's almost like, did he get someone to run that over and then mask it as, oh, it just fell out and someone ran over it? That's what it sounds like to me. Again, every last one of these cops has a shady past. There's one more that we need to learn about, and I think his name is Justin. It's Justin something. I can't think of his last name. Maybe someone in the comments or in the chat can let me know, but I do know his name is Justin. That's the last black cop, I should say, and we still don't know who the identity is of that other cop, because remember there was 7. We have 6 identities so far, but they're keeping that 7th one completely in phantom mode. Mills is not the only officer who was disciplined for failing to report a use of force. Ex-officer Demetrius Haley, who was also charged in Nichols' beating death, received a similar written reprimand for a 2021 incident in which he saw a fellow officer rip a woman from her car and dislocate her shoulder. As you can see, the tactics that each of them used separately or away from each other, it seemed like they just came together and used those same tactics against Tyree Nichols. It's just the unfortunate thing with Tyree Nichols is that he died from his, because it's like they formed up like an evil ass Voltron that malfunctioned and turned into that doll Megan and went completely haywire on Tyree Nichols. Because like I said, with all the details that's coming out about them individually can be applied to what they did to Tyree Nichols as a group. In total, 4 out of the 5 officers charged in Nichols' death had previously been disciplined for various matters. There you go. The only one that we haven't heard so far from was that one I just mentioned, and that's probably why we probably may not hear much about him if they can't find nothing to hold him into a position as leading as something they could use against him in this particular case. Otherwise, the only thing they're going to have on him is his involvement with Tyree Nichols' death. That is insane. But like I said, when you listen to all of the stuff that's involving these terrorists, as far as I'm concerned, listen to, like, literally pay attention to how all of them act or what they're doing. This is who they are. This is who they've always been. And the thing is, a lot of the stuff that they've been involved with wasn't even that long ago. They said this happened back in 2019, and the other ones happened relatively recent too. It's not like they happened 10 years ago in 2013 or what have you. Now, they've been on the force for a while, but then the stuff that they've done has happened within the last 5 years, maybe like the last 4 to 5 years. It's very recent of their behavior. And this guy has multiple infractions. That Demetrius Haley one, who I spoke about, definitely has multiple infractions. I think the lightest one out of all of them that was involved so far that has had a shady past is that Tadarius Bean one. The rest of them, as far as a past, was very violent. So you heard everything that I had to say about him. Like I told you, I'm trying to stay on top of this as much as I possibly can. And we're going to see if that last one that Justin got, and I think his last name may be Smith. I don't know. But if there's anything that's going to come out about him, we're going to talk about him too. So we've talked about 4 out of the 5 of them, because if you include that Hemphill, that Preston Hemphill guy, they talked about him, but only just because he was there. But I'm sure if you look into his past, there might be some stuff there as well. I think it is, though. Then we talked about the EMTs, the update on that. I left that in the pinned comment section of that video. 2 of them were actually, they got their license suspended, I believe. I don't know. I think the 2 guys did. The woman, they haven't said anything that has happened to her. She needs to get hers taken as well. Now we have this guy. There's 2 more left. The one that we know about as far as his identity, and the one we don't know about as far as their identity as well, who we believe is most likely PC as well, much like Preston Hemphill. But yep, they're using this as a case. This is case building. This is case building right here that they're definitely going to use against them when that trial kicks in. And I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on that trial. It's been a while since I kept my eyes on a trial, like, consistently. But this one right here, I'm going to try to follow as much as I possibly can. So get ready.